The year 2019. If you go through all the stock rewild cards in order, the 19th and 20th cards will be Pest Control and Audion. Cards you can only unlock through the God Cup. Does this mean that 2019 was a golden year? Yeah, that's a bullshit analogy. But that doesn't mean the year of the 20th anniversary wasn't full of fun or entertainment in the community. We've had meetups, carnivals, and even meme events that may have gone a bit too insane. Looking at you, tomatoes. However, let's first recap what happened to RVGL itself. The game was updated pretty frequently during the first few months of the year up until April 30th. With all updates containing minor tweaks and adds like the option to save replays, mouse controls, and the inclusion of chat logs alongside the already existing session logs. After this, updates came to a bit of a halt. However, major changes were coming. The first more significant update came on August 19th. The exact 20th anniversary of the original release according to Wookie, and this version added multiplayer CPU to the game. This meant we could fill up the rest of the spots with bots without having to run multiple instances of the game. It also allowed us to go even crazier with random cards and random track sessions, like the session you're seeing on the screen. Another important update came thanks to Saffron creating her new track called Togue Mountain. This was an uphill track with a pretty nice scenery for both drift and normal cars. However, it was a sprint track which RVGL didn't have proper support for. Yet. On the 7th of September, Hockey released a patch that made Togue Mountain something else, and now everyone is able to create a sprint track. The next patch of the year came on the 1st of October, which among many other new things brought an old cheat code back, but in a different form. This was the Joker tag which made all the cars in the race the same. In multiplayer, only the host can use this. That day, people got pranked.
You question mark.
Very nice.
I love those reactions.
The last patch was released on the 30th of December, and the most important update it brought was towards the track creation scene. Now people are able to create custom animations and are also able to modify the gravity on a per track basis. Session logs were now written even in offline game modes, and the infamous Metro World star bug was fixed as well. The track creation scene wasn't kicked off easily, but for a few nice tracks in the first half of the year. Among those were Route 5 with 2 stages, and this track was a recreation from Gran Turismo. It has a dark night sky, and the lighting provided by the city lamps help it achieve great visuals, which is paired with a nice flow. After his power tracks, Kiwi returned this time with a track that was originally made by Skitch 2, and Kiwi has made a redux version of it. This is Hullbridge 3000, and though I only tested the original in 1v1 race, Hullbridge 3's race line was definitely improved by Kiwi, and along with this, he also addressed quite a few bugs. Kiwi also released another track in June, but that will be talked about later with community events and competitions. In August, Alexander finally decided it was time to release his conversions, which consisted of Mario Kart V custom tracks, along with the announcement of a time trial event. The conversions were pretty nice visually, and even though they were created for Mario Kart, they also fit the RV modding scene well. In September, tracks started to arrive quickly. After Saffron's Togue Mountain was released, Route 77 arrived on Revolt Zone and also on XTG due to RVZ's 15MB size limit. It's a bit hard to say, but probably this track was the most popular this year, since it has only 5 downloads less than Rooftops 1, a track released on the same day coincidentally, but it probably passes that if we consider that the full version was only available on XTG. And I think this is pretty rightful. The flow is awesome, but still being pretty challenging, and the visuals are on a whole another level. Their cartoonish looks really fit well with the game's concept, and that's part of what makes this track astonishing. Rooftops 1 on the other hand is a revamp of the Fiddlers on the Roof track, which was originally inspired by official concept art. The track has major graphical improvements, However, it sparked quite a bit of controversy. The track kind of breaks the original flow of Fiddlers by force fields and open windows. Another criticism it received was considering its name, but let's not go into that issue. The second to last track in this list might not actually be a track, but rather a track pack. This is the no repo or no reposition pack instead. Tracks converted to this format leave AI nodes behind, therefore if you fall to your death, you cannot reposition anymore. Tracks like GBA Rainbow Road and To the Moon make this pack what it is. It's a new form of online racing and it's been pretty intense so far. The stable version might be out before the end of the year. It's been in beta version so far. However, no tracks were expected with as much anticipation this year as Scoot's Out was. After Kiwi went on a short break from the community, he came back with this track in mind, and the public release footage already highlighted the attention to detail as per tradition with all of the author's levels. The map has sections inspired by Toys in the Hood 1, Supermarket 2 and Skatepark F20. It's also one of the longest tracks ever made. While Kiwi made a planned estimate of about 1,000 meters in September, according to the images shared by him, the track will be 1,566 meters long. As far as I'm concerned, this is longer than any track in the main or bonus packs, and only some circuit tracks surpass it when it comes to the IO packs. While the track hasn't been released as of the recording of this video, I'm fairly sure that in pair with its Easter eggs and challenges, it will be an astounding experience. There were too many cars released this year that could be shown in this video, but Zegger was definitely one of them. But let's move on to the online multiplayer events that have happened throughout the year. There were many of them, including creative new session formats and classic reoccurring ones. The first notable session that happened was probably the 6th rendition of Ozfair. Many creative cars were crafted for this occasion, including but not limited to Pizza Time, Wheelchair Minion and Rocket Rodent. The competition was won by Saffron with community-based prizes, appearance and innovation going to DC.all and Shara. Another very interesting session that happened was the trolley exclusive, where there was one very memorable moment that caused a bit of controversy as well. Carnival, namely Alex, used a bowling ball at the jump in Toyward, and the ball turned back on the jump. It ended up hitting WSD guy, who was fighting for a good position there. It may have caused the session win for VSD guy to Alex himself. Had VSD guy not stopped after the incident, who knows what would have happened. This led to a bit of post-session drama in Discord, which is now a pin message in the online channel. What an epic battle. When the actual 20th anniversary came around in July, a session was announced to celebrate, and this was hosted by One. This session set racing all tracks in the packs as its main goal, and it was pretty memorable. It was split into 4 parts, with the last day being Acclaim Day, where the stock tracks were raced. It served well as a 20-year tribute to the game, and it was overall won by One himself. At the end of July, I calculated some statistics using a Python script. This let me realize in actual numbers how much more Toyota was raced compared to other cars. Therefore, I've decided that I should host a rare car session at the 5th of August, where the rarest cars from the Procast would be used. A variety of cars were raced that day and people discovered new cars to like. The 7th Ozfair event happened at the end of August, and many memorable cars were created. These included the likes of Stack of Pancakes, the Cole Shoeshine and SSJ Garfield. The competition was won by Alex, but this was thanks to Titanic 3's results being removed, a move that was voted on by the participants, since only 5 finished out of 13. We also got a cool new track that is called Bone Zone, and this was made by Alex. Meme racing events happened as well. Tomato's session with under-reading tomato facts was one of these. This racing sensation was organized by Zyno and happened at the beginning of September. There we learned the pronunciation of the word tomato.
Guys, how do you say it? Tomato or tomato? Tomato.
Tomato.
No,
Tomato.
I don't know, like
Tomato.
tomato. Tomato is
Tomato.
Exactly. It was a prank. Tomato is a stupid shit word that doesn't exist.
One day after the tomato event, we also raced Egg Dogs, a car created by URV. This car has a custom engine sound and it basically rolls on the floor. The session was great and the car really offered challenges even on basic tracks. Shara brought in a new racing format in September which was inspired by Gran Turismo and partially Super Tux Kart. These were the pace car races. The goal was to go as fast as you can but still stay behind a specific AI car. Passing this AI car resulted in a kick and you could only rejoin the next race. On the 25th of October, I decided that I would organize a session where only the most patient can win overall. This was an endurance session which consisted of races that were approximately 10 minutes long and raced 14 tracks overall. The session overall went on for about 2.5 hours and Lagirock managed to win by a huge advantage, proving to be the most consistent driver of the participants. The event also included 2 double point tracks that went on for a bit longer. These were Red Rock Valley and Special Stage Route 5. The following event was the Halloween Carnival. The base car for the event was rolling and people could modify this to have a custom skin or even a custom model as shown by Alex's example. The event went pretty well with carnage ensuing on most of the tracks. We also get a couple of new League of Extreme tracks and one of the most legendary replay recording and voice chat combination.
Goodbye, my friend.
Another new format of session was created again by Shara. This was the line elimination where the goal was to avoid being passed by the line, which was a well parametered AI car. But it wasn't really a car, to be honest. We saw it as an actual purple line on the ground. This was one of the most intense racing sessions this year and it was organized multiple times because of it. Saffron organized a fun event as well and this was an exclusive session for the Toyota Coaster car. The car, or rather bus, has really entertaining handling and definitely produced a lot of intense moments. The session was, of course, radioactive, so people could even do things that are not listed in the racing etiquette. After the qualifications were done in November, the 1v1 championship started on the first week of December. All in all, more than 40 people signed up across 6 leagues, so it's obviously very popular, though some have given up already. The leagues are mostly halfway through, except for League E, so there could be some interesting fights with high stakes coming up. Oh, he got pushed a bit there! Oh! 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 Wow! One of the last events of the year was the Christmas Carnival. The base car was BHV1 and participants could repaint and remodel this, though they couldn't modify the parameters or collision to their own liking and mostly to fit a wintry theme. Daniel won the competition part and Santa Pongus by URV was the winner of the beauty contest. There were also quite a few events that happened on not necessarily the racing side but still competitions. The first one of these were Zyno's Time Trial Challenges, which were supposed to be a monthly event. These events will include a list of cars and tracks and there's a specific rule about which car you race on what track. Unfortunately, due to the lack of interest, this ended up happening less frequently than promised, but in these last 2 months, Zyno made an attempt to restart this challenge and hopefully it can strive in 2020. The next exciting competition was the themed LEGO Extreme Track competition, which was announced by Vichy and Zyno in May. The theme was spring. Amazingly, Kiwi's V High Volley Adventures came out of this challenge. The track is a Strand Arena track which doesn't look like a LEGO track at all, if we don't see the progress picture of it. The track comes with 2 cards and we need to collect all diamonds using them. Kiwi described this track as more of a separate game and advertised it as such on Reward Zone. It also for mature audiences only. The other track that was made for this competition was Botania Terra by Alex, which was also very decent and it was also a very worthy competitor. Another cool competition that was announced was the annual shit track pack by Zyno. Getting Over It with Alexander was one of the tracks made for it, which showed a pretty cool challenge when it came to finding the directions. A more meme-like track that was made was Realms of Shit track, which has pretty bad graphics and custom sounds. It also has pizza time. However, the pack didn't get the anticipated attention and Zyno may have to also overshot with the 100 tracks goal, so it didn't get released. The themed LEGO Extreme Competitions Round 2 was proposed by Witchley and Zyno 1 month before Halloween, and it was met with great interest. The fan favorite and winner track was overwhelmingly Schizophrenia. It has a beautiful nightly theme and fits the Halloween topic very well. It was made by Turbo, who revealed himself to be Kiwi later on. Alex's Skeleton Rave was also a track with quite a lot of effort. The track had dancing skeletons, which was very much amusing to us during the Halloween carnival. Because of these skeletons, it also has a thumbnail that promotes it as whatever. The new speedrun server that was created also hosted a weekly challenge that lasted 5 rounds and had some pretty extraordinary experiences for us, like the skateboarding T-Rex or Corrupted Slug. Overall, it was won by Dwark09 in front of Zyno and Alexander. The last competition of the year was announced by Zyno and it was the best looking box competition. People had to reskin the boxes from Supermarket 1 and the prize was that the boxes would be added to Kiwi's Schools Out track. Some pretty great boxes were born that month. While competitions can be intense, there were also events on the community side that weren't related to competing with each other. Among these were the meetups that happened in spite of the 20th anniversary. The biggest one was in Frankfurt where 7 people attended, 6 revolters and 1 other person. It happened at the end of July and we had a race with real RC cars. RV Passion made an awesome video of all this, so watch his video if you're interested in how it all went. Overall, it was an amazing experience where some pretty cool stories were made, including some delayed flights. There was also 20th anniversary Romania meetup where basically Marv visited Vic and no one else attended really. They got drunk and announced All Sphere 7. 2 Hungarian meetups happened throughout the year where we summoned the mighty Panga. It was an interesting experience and we also got kinda drunk, which was especially true for the second time we met. We've had some real fun times, we've made memories and friends there. I sang the worst karaoke I have ever done in my entire life, and we are all looking forward to more of this. I say we move on now, shall we? We also got a new meme subreddit this year, which is called Refot House and is being moderated by Zyno. We've had some cool meme events, exactly one, like the Halloween event, that had 1 submission. Even though these events weren't that popular, some pretty cool memes were born outside of these, including GIFs and still images. This community now also has a Discord server with a cool starboard. Speedrunning also got a new Discord server, which inspired many more people to speedrun the game, all caps, or perhaps just a stunt arena. There is also an auto splitter now, which was made by Dwark, and it can be used on Windows with the Live Split app. A new Revolt inspired game was started to be developed by Marv in the Godot engine. It uses similar cards to RV and it also uses the same or similar 5 formats as of now. However, the big difference will be that this game will be multiplayer optimized and will mostly include LMS mode battle tags or basically anything considering the game modes will be scriptable. And after all this, now let's consider the very best content of the year. The first ever Pickup Award, where we celebrate the best memes and best tracks of the year. I would also like to make a shout out to car makers. However, there are so many cars being published that it would be very hard to pick a best one. In fact, let's look at some statistics. There were 260 cars and 74 tracks released on RVZ in 2019. 3,943 new accounts were created and 0 new tools were published. On the Revolt.io's Discord server, 290,557 messages were sent. That is an enormous amount. 200 casual lobbies were held, but the unofficial count was at 71. 115 submissions were made on the Revolt House subreddit. And now let's look at what awards were given out related to these memes. The first one was the worst meme of the year. This one went to Alex with a meme that's pretty memorable. The best meme of the year went to School edit that teaches us about the true nature of skills. And finally, the highest quality meme of the year went to the Checkman himself with his meme about stinker zapping. I'd like to give a shout out to Zyno for moderating this subreddit. The other award I'd like to announce the results to is, and this is the last award, this is the best track of the year. Many tracks were made this year. We've had some real beauties. Tracks took us on some great adventures, and one of them did this best according to people. And the track that won the vote was Rooftops One by GJ and iSpy. And of course credits go to Marv as well, who created Fiddlers on the Roof, which gave the bass for this track. And with that, the awards are all given out. However, I'd still like to give a shout out to all people who put work and effort into the community, all track makers, car makers, official hosts, unofficial hosts, especially to Wydum, who also hosts the 1v1 league and hosts a lot of sessions, some of which are 3 hours long. Shoutouts to Hookie for keeping the development going. Shoutouts to tubers for making memorable screams, and to our streamers who make these screams possible to rewatch. And finally, shoutouts to everyone who has pressed that home button, whether it was Santorini or not. Here comes the highlights reel of the year. Only the best and my favorites made it here, and credits to Onay and Floxit as well for their streams, where I took quite a few clips from. Please visit their channel as well after watching this video.
Good boy! Opportunity! Dude, listen. If the happiness were a drug, I would be addicted. Police, we have a dog on the loose.
Vad är skizet? Okej, I'm being left by alien buster.
Wait, how? Hello? Oh my god,
Nej!
Watch people at the skin crash out.
Slow down. Oh, who shot that shockwave at the spinning? Oh, someone crashed into me. Here I should have went into the grass a bit so Foxy can catch up. Oh. Oh!
Oh, nice! Unplugged gets shot.
Oh, good save!
Yes!
Ah, why? Who shot?
Oh! No! Eliminating Calc.
Oh, thank you! Thank you!
Go done.
No.
I still would say it's pretty
Yes!
good.
Thank you fucking ass! Yep. It's one door. But oh, he makes me jump better again.
Alex, okay, go first, go first.
Oh man! Oh! Wow! Yeah! Oh! Oh no! Even how is it hot? Broken arrow. Will you? Oh shit!
Well, look at my god.
Wait, really? All this time I was racing flight? Oh! Nice! Where did the alien buster finish? Wait, if I have this spot, I think I got the cut. Come on! No! I don't! No!